Hi, I'm DJ Pollock, currently employed as the Outdoor Recreation and Ropes Course Graduate Assistant at the University of South Florida. I want to talk a little bit today about low rope course safety. This is important to many institutions that are looking to either further develop or create a low ropes course, because the safety of the students and other participants are very important to those programs. I have 7 big points that I want to discuss, and we'll jump right into it. The first one is proper dress. At USF, we have a checklist that is sent out to all potential participants for a ropes course ahead of time. This lets each student know what they need to bring and what they need to wear when they come out to the ropes course. Closed-toed shoes are one of the most important things, because low ropes elements may involve coming off the ground 8 to 12 inches, usually standing on wooden platforms and sometimes steel cables. Flip-flops and other loose shoes like that do not offer protection for toes are just not acceptable. In order to keep it safe, we do require closed-toed shoes, proper dress, which is either shorts or pants, and a t-shirt or some other type of shirt. But we do want to avoid any type of baggy clothing. The next critical point about safety on a low ropes course is the weather. You always want to check the forecast before you go out with a ropes course group, just so you have that idea of what to expect as the weather. And then obviously the staff throughout the program should keep their eye on the sky for any weather changes, which do in Florida happen rather quickly. One point, you do not want to end up out on a ropes course during a storm. You can only be next to tall poles and steel cables and wires when there's lightning. That's pretty self-explanatory. Also in weather, the heat can play a factor. Again, here in Florida, we do have that, especially during the summer months. But even during the cooler times, dehydration is still a possibility. So your staff members on a low ropes course should keep that in mind too. And as each element ends, there's a break period for discussion and debriefing on the element to talk about how the group did, what they can take home in a real life experience from it. And it's also a good time then to make sure that everybody gets a drink of water and refills their water bottles. Alright, another key point is to stretch. Having your participants on a ropes course do some stretching is a good idea, because it helps prevent muscle strain, because your participants may actually be doing something they're not used to. They may not be as agile or doing things outdoors as they will be while they're on the ropes course. So doing simple things like touching your toes to stretch out your back and your calf muscles, stretching from side to side to stretch out abs, and even stretching your arm and your elbow back behind your back to stretch out your arms. Because in many of the techniques on a low ropes course, they're going to be using different muscle groups that are not usually getting used during daily activities, and to prevent that strain and any future injury, stretching is the easy way to solve that. Now, after you've gone through some of the low ropes team building and things where you're ready to go on to physical elements, like one behind me, there's a technique called spotting, which is taught to all the participants. Now what we use is, we say we want you to use spoons, not forks. So that is taking your hand, cupping them a little bit, making sure your thumbs are in and your fingers are together. And this is used to support anybody that's on an actual element to break their fall, so that if they slip off a cable or off a tire or off a wooden platform, they're not just going to fall into the ground. There's somebody there within a couple inches that can kind of prop them back up or support them down if they're finished. Now, along those same lines, is the ropes course is geared towards building teams and increasing skill level. Now, a good facilitator or staff member for the program would want to keep an eye on this the entire time, because as you start small and grow big, you want to make sure that 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 team building is happening so that everything is staying safe. Now, you wouldn't want to start your group out with no team cohesion and say we're going to climb a 12-foot wall, because they don't have that skill level yet. There's not that trust there yet, and that makes it unsafe. Now, at some points, a group may never even get that far because they don't develop that much skill and trust, and so those things should not be attempted because they would be unsafe. Now, I talked a little bit about trained staff. As I mentioned, I'm a ACCT Level 2 facilitator. That is something we did at USF. We decided to have an outside vendor come in and do some training. You can do your own training with staff as well, but you want to keep in mind that whatever training you can give your staff, that's what they're pulling from when they're out on the course. So if you're a coordinator and you're out there working on every group, then you're probably the most trained and responsible for that course. Now, if you're sending student staff out there on their own to run courses, well, they're the one that's responsible at that time, and they should have the training for each element that they're doing, as well as anything else that might come up on the ropes course. So with those, all these safety issues that I'm talking about would be something that they need to have knowledge of. And finally, one of the things to do to secure your course and make it safe without participants, because everything I've talked about up until now is when you're actually running a course and having it safe, is securing your area so that when it's not in use, it is safe for people around and nobody can operate an element without the trained staff. In this case, this element with swinging tires is secured with a steel cable that runs through all the tires, and it's locked on both sides with a padlock. So without the staff member to come out and unlock the padlock and take that cable off, somebody that's either trespassing or just wandering around can't start to play on the element and try to complete the element and then injure themselves because the element is secured. Along the lines with that are posting no trespassing signs and signs that say not to use this obstacle without proper supervision. And just about every ropes course vendor or construction company that builds these type of objects, they'll provide those signs for you with appropriate phone numbers and information that you can post on every element. Now, I've talked about at least 7 different key points for making a low ropes course stay safe and making your course safe when not being used. Now, even for a high ropes course, these are the same type of things. For securing a high ropes course, though, the only requirement there is that everything must be over 12 feet so it is out of reach. So with everything up 12 feet in the air when it is secure, the only way somebody would be able to get up there is with an extension ladder, and they're not able to accidentally or willfully, without planning, go onto the course without proper supervision. Now, the way we do that at USF and many Boy Scout camps is that the lower elements are either completely removable, where they can be taken and put away in a locked building, or they're on a pulley system where you can actually raise them up into the air above the 12 feet so that people are not able to climb onto them. Well, I hope you have gotten a little bit of information that is useful out of this and understand that the benefits of having a ropes course, either low or high, do outweigh any of the risks, especially when these 7 key points are taken into account. You can really minimize the risk out on the ropes course, and you can have an effective program for your college or university. If there are any questions or you have any comments about this presentation, I would feel free to send me an email or give me a phone call, and I'll answer any of those questions or take any comments and concerns you have into account. And that information will be provided on the handout that you have received. Once again, I'm DJ Pollock. I'm currently employed at the University of South Florida working as the Outdoor Recreation and Ropes Course Graduate Assistant, and my certifications for ropes course include ACCT Level 2 Facilitator and a Boy Scouts of America Cope Director.